IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative. Okay, cock and bull. My God, we just had a show in the evening and we're back in the morning with the same people. This is like a marriage. I hate you, Amit, and I hate you, Silver. I want to see your faces. Thank God Mahrukh has joined us. Something fresh and female before Me Too cases smashed against me. I want to quickly just mention to everybody who doesn't know that Sadhvi Pragya, arguably India's greatest leader, intellectual and humanitarian, has said that cow urine has kept her happy. And I'm going to try it. I think you should not knock things until you try it. So who's with me? We try it. Let's see how our immunity goes up or down. And, so once the show is over, I'm off to find my local cow. And I'm going to wait till she pees on me. And then I'm going to give her an update.
2020 is a difficult year. A global pandemic, protests, elections, recessions. You get the picture. What we need is a space where we can have nuanced discussions about global affairs and foreign policy. That's where I come in. My name is Hamsini Hariharan and I host the States of Anarchy podcast. Every second Tuesday, I speak to experts in the field of international relations to make a little more sense of the world. So join me on the IVM podcast app, website, or wherever you're listening to me right now.
Guys, and I ask you all to do the same. No, Mahrukh, please don't laugh. Please try it. Try it once.
No. You have to find a desi cow first, Cyrus, and then there's a whole filtration process.
Let me write this down. There are rules I didn't see.
Yes.
So the cow has to be a desi cow of Indian origin, right?
Of Indian origin.
What
and
if it was
should be on a certain feed, a certain kind of feed. And then you have to filter the urine 15 times over in a desi cloth or in a muslin cloth. You can't just go around and drink any kind of cow urine.
I mean, I'll spend as much time waiting for my vaccination then. What the hell is this? 15 times with a muslin cloth and, and the same cloth, I presume, again and again.
I'm guessing, yeah. I didn't go into those
The cloth's immunity will be unbelievable. The cloth's really going to be safe. Wow. So, can I even ask you what you think of, what do you reckon Member of Parliament comes up with these kind of comments? And second time, in fact.
I think for Pragya, the basic thing was that she was missing. She was completely out of action. She was missing, and there was actually an award on her, $10,000. That's what a Congress leader said. That why don't we go around and find out where the Member of Parliament is in Bhopal?
You look under a cow. Cloth, of course. I'm sorry. The cloth was important. Yeah.
So I guess she was trying to divert attention. She obviously has a terrible record as a member of parliament. She's also had COVID apparently last year.
Yeah.
She had COVID symptoms in December. She was admitted to a hospital and now she's going around saying whatever she is. So obviously the best possible tactic for a politician, divert attention by giving some mumbo jumbo.
About 2 years back, she had also, or maybe a year back, she had also claimed that cow urine cured her cancer, which is another thing she had.
But I just want to get back to this. So when she went to hospital, and I don't want to go on about this, did she take the cow with her? Because I can't see the doctor. Let's say Dr. Saxena comes there and says, "What would you like? Vaccine? Yeah, Gai Pisab." How does that work? I don't know.
I think you should do a detailed press conference on this. Maybe that's where we'll kind of figure.
I can understand. Are you really, is that your thinking or is that your avatar that you want to project because you believe certain people like that kind of story and so you don't project it? But or do you really actually believe that? That's the question.
I think they actually believe that. I don't think this is just part of, diverting attention. And I think they actually believe it and they're actually doing it. Some of them are actually doing it. They believe this is some old Ayurvedic science. And obviously with due respect to Ayurveda, this is some strange
You have to say that. You must say that, yeah.
No. You had your health minister, Dr. Harshvardhan, last year actually give government money to have a study done on finding out whether cow urine was effective. So obviously they believe this.
It's very easy to kind of start believing in your own delusions, right? I mean, like, it's gradual. It doesn't, like, you don't just go straight to, like, let's drink cow urine, all things are good, right? It's more of a, like, it's a step by step. It's indoctrination, right? I mean, like, the way anything you get indoctrinated into, like religion, like I mean, a cult, like anything of that, it's the same kind of thing. Just step by step, like, there are a
Or they
series of steps that
simply
get you that point.
they kowtow to the more extreme forces in their tribe and just allow it to happen in spite of education and a
I
certain
think that
enlightenment.
I think there are some like that, but I think that those people are generally careful about how they talk, right? Like, I mean, like, no, I mean, like, you look at, there are cynical members of these kinds of nationalist parties, right, who are basically just riding a wave. I mean, like, I do believe the prime minister and home minister are somewhat like that, right? I mean, like, I think that they are riding a wave in the sense that they're not as irrational as the people who follow them are. So I mean, like, I think that is 100% there too.
Yeah, the only problem is that you vote someone into power who actually believes that cow urine will solve everything. So, I mean, at the end of the day, there's a potential prime minister there. I mean, potential. So, having
I
said that,
mean,
you
but
could
in
be.
case of Pragya Thakur, she actually had terror charges against her. I mean, first you completely ignore that. You relegate that. You here you're, legislating on laws that any member of parliament with a criminal record will not be allowed to, go into polls or actually get into the parliament. But you have a person with terror charges in parliament today, and then she has the right to go on a public platform and espouse these kind of unscientific beliefs. And she does have a constituency that pretty much believes whatever she says. So, I mean, it's never ending. The cycle is never ending.
No, and she also has made many polarizing comments post the charges. It's not like that she's reined it in. A couple of times they've actually, High Command has actually told her to back off because it's been so embarrassing. So that's the other amazing part. I mean, I thought, if you make polarizing conversations and things like that, some sort of action will be taken because you're enticing people to misbehave. But that obviously in any part of
No,
India.
absolutely. She has been at the one of the leaders of the hate brigade, as I like to call them, and she has been reined in. But obviously, she is popular. Nevertheless, she has a certain kind of popularity, and primarily, individual leaders in parties, especially members of parliament, also try to come up and do their own thing, despite the party whip or what the party high command says. They try to fight it and try and say whatever they want to occasionally because they need to keep their own domestic constituency happy. But with what Pragya is doing right now, clearly because of the kind of bad press she's got for not being around and not helping anybody during the second wave, she's now started this whole thing of
It's not
saying that
true. She's kept a cow outside the apartment. And said, please use with care, with some cloth nearby as well. I'm sure. Yeah.
You know what would be amazing? It would be great to hear so that Tamil Nadu minister who went off on Sadhguru. I'd love to hear what he had to say about something like this, right? I mean, like, that was like one of the most articulate takedowns of the quote unquote Godmen kind of stuff that we've been seeing off late, right?
The rationalist wave against the spiritual wave in India.
It was such a on point this, right? Like, it's always been a question, right? I mean, like, they talk about property rights being abrogated when these temples are being controlled by the government, and so it's always been like kind of a weirdish question, and I find it so I've never seen such an articulate like takedown of that position that no, of course the government has to do it. These temples were made by kings. Who else are we supposed to give? Are you just supposed to give it to whoever you want to? It has to be a government property thing. So it was
actually he's a politician to watch out for.
Yeah.
He's a
In a
very,
good way or a
extremely
bad way?
in a very good way. In
Yeah.
a very good way.
Which is rare to
Well
say.
educated, knowledgeable, articulate, and I think a politician of the future.
I hope so. I hope we see more.
Or maybe
of that.
not. He doesn't have enough hate politics. Speaking of which, Amit, why can't I become a politician? Because I rant every day. And everything,
true.
I've got a lot of hatred in me, a lot of viciousness and
do.
malice. And I think I'm perfect. I just don't have a cow. I have 2 dogs, and I may get a cat. Mahrukh, you're the expert. But yeah, so does that count for
I think
anything?
I think the future needs leaders like you, Cyrus.
Yeah.
Start a party. Trust me. In due course of time, you will have a following. You already do, but I'm talking about the political kind.
you,
But at
you
the moment,
know,
the only people I hate are police. Is that good enough? Because you have to hate a type, right? So I'm going to my hate police phase. So is that
so,
okay, Amit?
yeah, yeah, you should make a political party like Abby Hoffman did, right? I mean, like the Yippies. They never fought an election, but they were a very big the
A
guy
lobby.
yeah, like the guy from the Chicago 7, that
Oh,
guy. So him and so two of them, Abby Hoffman and the other guy who was his best friend, I can't remember his name offhand, but the two of them started this thing called the Yippies. It was like the 60s and 70s. They did these like bizarre sets of performance art in, like, middle of large cities and stuff like that, to kind of get across, like, their point of view. You should start a Yippies type party over here for sure.
I
Don't
just
try
want
and fight elections. I don't think you want to
see,
do
every
that.
time we talk about whatever we're talking about, people think we're elitist and insensitive because, cyclone is killing people, they're losing their homes, blah, 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 blah. And my worry is Wi-Fi. Fair enough. So, but I'm saying, surely there are people like me. Because everyone should be selfish and think about their own tribe. So I get my tribe of elite together, and then it's a huge thing. Okay? You don't have to compare your pain with my pain, but everybody's got their own pain. That's it. As long as
But
we have
it's a fair
numbers.
point. It's a fair
point.
point. I mean, people who are privileged often no, I seriously mean it, because people who are privileged often feel that they don't. It's not that the people who are elitist or privileged don't have issues. They do, but you
Correct.
might have you'll have minority status in parliament.
In Malba Hill in the 90s, before the BJP government, having only one chauffeur was a big issue. You were looked down upon, and they'd be, oh, Mrs. Desai ke paas ek hi driver hai. Oh, bloody hell, yaar. Kids don't play with them. Huh? It was like that. It's very painful for Amit. Correct me if I'm wrong, bro. Come on. So all I'm saying is, why be insincere and act that you really care about the farmer's plight? And obviously, I'm not saying we're that insensitive that we don't, but you don't really invest in anything. So let's just talk about ourselves, because there the passion will flow normally and correctly. And at least
I think if you stand for elections, people will actually come out and vote, especially in Malabar Hill and South Mumbai.
Malba Hill, they don't vote anyway. They don't even know when the
But maybe
elections are.
seeing you, they'll feel, oh, this guy really cares for our issues. Chauffeur, Wi-Fi.
If you can involve the building WhatsApp, because Malba Hill building WhatsApps is very dynamic. Every day they wish each other, they mention different gods, they talk about life in general, they send pictures of devastation. They're touched by Palestinian plight in Israel. It's amazing. So
Really, your WhatsApp groups are touched by Palestinians' plights. My
so somebody
WhatsApp
sends
groups are mostly like, all the pro-Israel, BJP.
Pro-Israel.
Yeah.
that my group doesn't get into the politics too much. Not because they don't hate enough, but they're just stupid. I don't think they know enough. So there's no point, going to a side and then Yom Kippur is a restaurant. You can't. It's so they don't get into that. But what I like is that little knowledge that the internet gives you. So everybody wants to be part of the little knowledge. So they throw the little knowledge out there and say it's coming from me. See, I care. I know nothing about Israel or Palestine or the plight or the Middle East or how that happened or whatever. But I want to just put my name up there for being part of the movement that told you about this as well. So,
yeah, like that whole hashtag Black Lives Matter, which was started by a whole number of people who didn't really understand that, but were quite insensitive to issues happening in India.
No. They were all for Black Lives Matter and felt really bad and cried when they saw the 9.5 minutes of the guy kneeling on our friend and all that. But then they turn around and tell the son that she has to find a Gori wife, otherwise it won't work out. we live in a different world altogether. Yeah, very. America mein jo ho raha hai, wo uska jo dard hai, I'm feeling it right now, really. Or you throw your maid out because it's a COVID and we can't take a chance. Go walk. Meerut is only 4,000 kilometers. Keep going straight. Take a right somewhere, Agra, and you reach. So don't start me off. I hate Malba Hill at the moment. So I just can't stand them. By the way, we've lost lots of trees. I don't know about you guys, but my entire lane is a mess. It's quite sad. It looks like Alibag.
Oh, really?
It's not a terrible thing to say. The lovely
This is a
trees
scary thing for me to say, because you're going to be recording from home tomorrow, and if you're in Alibag, that would not be good.
Yeah. God, Amit, every time I say I'm going to Alibag, you'll start having a heart attack. You'll call up somebody and say, bank 5. Yeah, sorry, we digressed. Let's get back. Yeah. But
So
why can't we be
you're talking
politicians?
about-
Honestly, at some point, some of us have to become politicians because we just sit there and we cannot identify with any of these guys. Yeah. I mean, Sadhvi is, on the 43 degrees of separation. If I hung out with her at a cocktail party, what would we talk about except that I like animals? I can't think of another thing. So then
Or
we'll
maybe the
discuss
champagne that you're drinking reminds her of what.
urine. Mahrukh, you really know my cheapness, huh? हाँ बेटा मिक्स करके देना सबको गाय को इधर बुलाओ Yeah, we've got a winner with this. Urine industry has been created.
So it's not just urine, by the way. There have been rising cases of people rubbing cow dung on themselves, thinking that it's a cure for COVID. So much so that doctors are having to warn against that also, saying, guys, don't do this. There is
why
no
are they
medical
warning?
advantage to this. Yeah.
I mean,
But no, because they
some
have to
people
warn
like
because
cooking,
of
some
fear.
want to learn a foreign language. They rub cow dung. I mean, it's something to do, man. I don't see what the big deal is, really.
Some doctors are saying that this could be the reason behind the spread of the new disease called black fungus, or
From the cow dung?
which is on the rise. Yeah, from the cow dung.
Is it black fungus a lung
disease.
infection?
No, so essentially what happens is that it comes from some kind of bacterial infection, right? And so they're saying that because of the cow dung on you, and cow dung has all kinds of zoonotic organisms on it. So you might breathe that, or because it's on your body and you're sitting out in the sun and baking yourself. So the chances of contracting other kind of bacterial infections also rises. They haven't been able to
But you
figure
don't
out
need
a
to be a
direct
doctor to
connection
think that
between.
if you're going
not
to
yet.
spend time with cow droppings without being scientific mind, I mean, you would probably think it's a bad idea, right? And that you would get something from it.
Well, I mean, urine, dung. I mean, like, there is a reverence for the cow, right, which allows for its waste products to be used, or people to think that they can be used. And again, like, a cow dung is a fuel, right? So it's not like people in rural India are not used to handling cow dung. It's a fuel. So I guess maybe it's
But
not that.
it sort of dies properly, before it becomes a fuel, right? Doesn't it?
No, you have to dry it and cake
You
it
dry
and
it
like
and cake it, and so by the time
yeah.
it's almost a solid piece, and then you can make it into art.
But the point being that you handle
What are we
it, right?
doing with this show? We're discussing urine and dung.
Yes. Well, yesterday we were talking
yesterday
about
was a
Yes,
frog in my mouth.
frogs. Yeah.
And we're calling. I can't call her Sadhvi Pragya after this year. I mean, she's just one of us.
Sorry, Mahrukh, just so you know, we had a long 25-minute conversation about the frog that was stuck in Cyrus's toilet in Alibag.
Hey, Silvery had a parallel story to tell. So I'm not the only one.
And
No,
Antariksh
that's
also.
not it. Our sound editor, while editing the episode, told me, "Hey man, this has happened to me in Goa. A frog was in my." I'm like, I think all the people who have had these frog experiences are at IVM.
Tell Sadhvi Pragya to also check out frog urine, because obviously that's a very prevalent condition in all parts of rustic India, and maybe that's an easier way to access some cure, because all you have to do is sit on the pot. It's that same time of the day, and then hopefully that emission happens between both parties. Right? Instead of froggy, may I cross your golden river? It's like my golden river, and froggy, all the best. Sorry, Mahrukh, intellectual property.
I know, exactly. Yeah. We bring Mahrukh
We
on for
nearly
this
had a sponsor
conversation.
until this one. Yeah, poor thing. He's got to lecture us about the wildness of Indian politicians.
Talking about cow dung, what was kind of reassuring, I don't know.
You can't beat him, join him.
Yeah. Was that at least people like Akhilesh Yadav were actually calling it out. This whole thing of, we must also understand that these kind of stories are highlighted by the Western press. I mean, it's gleefully they put out stories after
Why not?
stories. It might just be one incident. There are enough quacks in the US and in Europe also. It's not just in India. And I'm not discounting what's happening here.
You're sounding a bit like Kangana.
You know,
I'm scared.
I'm saying there are all kinds of, but at least people from the political class are calling it out. There was a time when they would actually stay away from commenting on such issues because it would hurt sensitivities of a certain kind, a certain section of their constituency. Now, at least they're coming out and saying that, what is this? This is unscientific. It doesn't work. So there is some hope somewhere. But the funny part was that there's one center where this whole cow dung therapy is happening in Gujarat, which is right opposite a vaccine center, a facility where a vaccine is being produced or right now being worked on. So, we really work on
Mahrukh,
dichotomies.
but that's great marketing. I'll tell you why. Because every time you go there, like my mom had to go 3 times, old lady and all that. You go there, or there's a big line, and they say no vaccine available or out of stock or whatever. Then you obviously go to the next option. It's just like human nature.
No, this is a facility where they're actually making the vaccine, not inoculating people.
Okay, how sad. Oh.
Yeah. So
but they can use help from opposite the road. Wow, it's amazing. But what if it's true? After all this cynicism from us, what if it turns out that it's a miracle liquid? Urine is like water of the 21st century. Just
I've been hearing it's a miracle liquid since I was 4 years
since
old.
Morarji Desai offered
Yeah,
it to
my
cabinet ministers.
it was literally when I was 4 years old. My first trip to India when I was a kid in the US, I was told about Morarji Desai and drinking urine. And would you like some? Was
Drinking
asked
his
to
own
me.
urine. Again, that's very important,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mahrukh, you're the expert, I'm told. So drinking somebody else's urine is some sexual perversion. Drinking your own urine is for health. Am I right?
I reserve my comments.
There's a story about jellyfish. Somebody was saying that if a jellyfish stings you,
Yes.
and you pee
Yeah.
on the wound,
You have pee on your leg. It does
pee on
not.
your-
It does not work.
It does not.
You've done
Oh,
it.
that's a myth.
No, it's a
Okay.
myth. It's a myth that's been around for a long time. It's a very common myth. Basically, if you pee on your leg after a jellyfish has stung you, you still have a jellyfish sting, with pee on your leg now.
That's the only difference. It's just a bakra, basically. You got two
Yeah.
problems now.
Yeah.
What works is vinegar. I just
Where are you going to find vinegar? You're on a beach.
listen. I just saw this on a quiz show where they were kind of talking about this, and I found out about this in the last 20 days. Is when I found out that that actually urine does not work because it's so ingrained, right? I mean, like we always have heard this that you go to a beach, somebody pee, and then there was that Friends episode which
Friends
we've all
episode, of
seen
course.
like 100
Yep,
times,
yep.
right?
Hmm.
And so that kind
After
of
Sadhvi
reinforced it as
Pragya,
well.
Friends is the next best thing for medical knowledge options. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're doing a reunion also, so that we
There
might
you
just
go.
get some
Yeah,
more
I know.
knowledge.
I saw that also this morning. I was very disappointed that it's a reunion, as in like they're all just getting together and talking about the show rather than
Oh,
like
it's not an
doing
episode.
like
Yeah,
a 20
it's-
years later thing.
I
Yeah.
thought what
I
was the
would have
Seinfeld
preferred that
reunion?
also,
Was it
yeah.
like that, or was it? It was
Which one?
The Seinfeld reunion was the same. They just chatted, right?
They all chatted. They
Yeah.
did it for
What's the point of that?
Seinfeld. They did
Yeah.
it for West
Curb.
Wing.
Although
That's not
there
it.
was
Yeah.
the entire season, the 7th season of Curb Your Enthusiasm is a whole Seinfeld reunion season. So if you're
Oh, really?
interested in the
Okay.
actual
I've
Seinfeld
seen
reunion, watch that.
everything
Yeah.
of Larry David.
No,
Yeah.
but
So
they've
that's
done
Oh,
a
so they
few.
all come in a sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
One
that's
by one.
actually, yeah.
That's good. No, they've done a few of these recently,
We've
right?
lost
So,
Mahrukh. She has no interest in Seinfeld.
I would guess not.
No, I'm more of a Friends fan, not a Seinfeld fan.
Huh? Now look at us. When it comes to Sadhvi and Pragya, and all, we're on the same side. But now when it comes to sitcoms, we are divided. You're polarizing us. Friends versus Seinfeld.
I'm on Mahrukh's side. If you were to ask me Friends versus Seinfeld, I pick Friends.
I'm out of the show. Seinfeld is the second greatest comedy ever made in the history of the
I know.
world. After Blackadder. Yeah.
Seinfeld does not feel rewatchable the way Friends does. I can watch
Yes.
Friends all the
But
time.
Friends doesn't make me laugh that much. It's nice. It's funny.
It's nice. It's funny.
I
Seinfeld is
died
mean.
laughing. The soup Nazi, I was on the floor. And the boy in the bubble, I was out of the window. It's that kind of funny, I mean, it's not a level.
Yeah.
But Seinfeld is, but it's fun. It's really funny, but it's mean.
Amit, when George takes the job with the New York Yankees, doesn't know what his job is.
I know.
He comes and puts the suitcase and looks at the clock and goes to sleep for 8 hours. I mean,
That's so funny.
That's just genius,
Yeah,
man.
oh God.
That's it. That's all he does. And
Agreed.
Then, the opposite thing has actually become a life philosophy that people follow. Like, do the opposite. Whatever your mind tells you, you have to do the opposite. If every day you're drinking coffee, drink tea. If every day you order pancakes, order the opposite of whatever pancakes are.
So every day you sleep with
That
a
is-
woman, do you sleep with a man the next? I mean,
I guess, yeah, they didn't address that
minute,
part on the
1
show,
minute.
but
So
yeah,
you're
that is-
saying if instead of urine from the cow, you go for the other side?
I guess, yes.
Then
right.
you're eating it and
Yeah.
putting it on your body, both at the same
Oh,
time.
And what happens to my Gandhian values of non-violence?
God, sorry.
Instead of
you're
turning the
right
other
now,
cheek,
yeah.
I stab you. Let me get it clear. Give me the list. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm eating a biscuit, guys, just to keep the sugar up.
All
Which I don't
right.
need. Today I have high energy today for some reason. I don't know.
This
Mahrukh
conversation
says-
has worked up an appetite for you, hasn't
No,
it?
maybe I've had some urine today. I don't know. I'm just feeling very up.
So since we're having so much fun, I think we can do like a quick fun story before we get to some other serious stuff.
Mhm.
A Mumbai man ordered for mouthwash on Amazon, okay, and he got a smartphone instead, okay, which is already a great deal, right?
Right.
But now he's unable to return the smartphone because the mouthwash is a consumable item, and Amazon's policy says consumable items cannot be returned. So he's just stuck with an awesome smartphone.
Why do you want to return it? Is he
Yeah,
passing?
why would he? No, he's just being good. He's just being like a good Samaritan. He wanted to he at least tweeted at them saying, "Okay, hey
What
guys, I'm not able to
smartphone
return
is
this.
this, Antariksh? What
This is a
smartphone
red.
is
It's
this?
see, so the mouthwash order was a total of like 249 or 349 rupees. The smartphone is worth 11K.
No, which
So it's quite a
company?
lot of difference.
Because it's
Oh, it's
terrible for the
Redmi.
company.
It's a
Oh, no
Redmi
wonder.
Note.
Oh,
Yeah.
terrible for the company. Yeah.
But no. So the joke is like, imagine the guy who ordered for a smartphone and got mouthwash instead, because the orders didn't get reversed. Right?
My only worry is
Somebody got.
he shouldn't put the phone in the mouth and start gargling because he has no idea. We've just
Yeah,
spoken
correct.
about some real idiots on this show already. Ouch. But that's Amit. So what happens then? You keep it, right? There's no illegality to it.
He's not done anything
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
He's tried to return it. I mean, like, what is he supposed to do? I don't think you have to. I don't even think you have to really make too much of an attempt to return it. They deliver it to you.
Yeah, correct. You just keep it. Nobody would know if he had not tweeted about it.
Have you done anything wrong? I mean, like, he's not done.
How do they
anything
explain
wrong.
in their accounts? Because they've sent a 249 rupee bill and then they spend an 11,000 rupee product. And how do you account for that?
I'm sorry, but for Amazon, it's an error. It's not even like it doesn't even qualify as a rounding error, right?
No.
For Amazon,
That's different. Okay, that's different. That's perspective. I'm talking about the fact that it's an accounts thing.
it happens.
Somebody's
Problems happen. No? I mean, like you always have like breakage. You always have spillage. You have pilferage. All of
it
these
goes
things
in
you
the
account
collateral
for.
damage file of small things that pile up.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're running a company at this kind of like scale, you have to assume that like once out of 100,000 times there's going to be an error.
Let's
And-
write down the mouthwash. We can all try.
Yeah. And all order. You
I
never
don't
know.
care, red meat or green meat doesn't bother me. Yeah. We'll take them anyway. Wow. So some good news for somebody during the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty great.
I'm cheap. I love freebie. Mahrukh, do you get excited still when they give you something small at an event? I mean, the
I
old days.
love it.
I love it.
I
Yeah.
love it. I was just going to say I ordered from H&M, not H&M, Marks and Spencer.
Mhm.
And I got a message saying that the order can't be delivered because all deliveries are shut in Mumbai. This was about a month back. And then I get the package, right?
that's the
And
best.
they've refunded the money and I've got the package. So I tried calling them. I've sent them emails. They haven't responded. So
Oh,
pretty
wow.
much free.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
I was delighted, but I did my due diligence. I sent the emails.
Yeah.
I tried calling them, but nobody's responded to me.
What more
That-
can you do?
yeah, that kind of
That's
thing
what I want to
happens.
understand.
No, but I think stuff like that happens every so often, right? And just consider your good fortune. I mean, like, what else can you do? I mean, like, see, at the end of it, you're going to break your head if if you lost something. You're not going to break your head if you gain something. You'll do like you said, you'll make one effort, maybe two, but beyond that, who's going to bother, right? If
Shouldn't the break your head effort come from the broken head person party?
but
They should be calling up and saying, bro, we sent you the wrong thing.
yeah, but see, again, you have to think about it from their perspective, right? If it's a Marks and Spencer's order, let's say it's a 5,000, 10,000 rupee order, something of that nature. If they have to go and start figuring out, okay, I need to get this collected, how many people are going to have to place how many man hours for something they have not identified? It's just probably not worth the effort for
But
them,
does
right?
anybody get penalized? That's the part that
So
I'm
bothers
sure
me.
there is, because
these
if you're the warehouse manager and if this
Ah.
happens at your warehouse, like there's an acceptable rate of error, right? Let's say
Mm.
your acceptable rate of error is 0.5%, right? And if your error rate becomes 1%, then you're out of a job. So
Mm.
people do get responsible, but not
How
probably
do
on
you
a
become such a
individual basis.
professional behemoth like Marks and Spencer or Amazon or whatever when it appears to be so frivolous and blasé sometimes? I mean, these stories are. I mean, you think they'd be really tight and professional and efficient when it comes to everything. Especially, it could happen, but they would clean it up. I would say, why don't they clean it up? The cleaning up
let me ask you this question, right? How many times have you heard a story like this?
twice
Very
in 5
few,
minutes.
Huh?
Not too often, but twice now in 5 minutes.
Twice in 5 minutes from two different stores, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazon on a daily basis, if I remember correctly, does something like 750,000 orders a day in India.
Okay.
Wow.
What's the percentile of F-ups?
Exactly. I mean,
It's
like,
very low.
yeah. I mean, like, how
Model
often
Park,
do you hear about this
like
stuff?
point
I'm
zero
gonna
one.
guess that it's like it's probably got to be 99.99% efficient, right? Because that's where most of these guys go for. Actually, Six Sigma is a thing, right? Which is 99.9999% accurate. That is like a gold standard created by this Jack Welch, is the former CEO of GE. Which is basically a way, is what they expect as like, a standard that if you are a process driven business, you should be 99.999% accurate.
Right now, we can only call Marks and Spencer's out for one thing and Amazon out for one thing. So we don't even hit that
No,
fraction.
but
They still
one
got
of the things
miles to
that
go.
Amazon messes up on all the time is they have that option of, is this a gift and we can wrap it up for you,
Right.
right? 8 times out of 10, they never wrap it up. It just goes as is, there's no card in it. So obviously they're charging you money, but I've personally experienced that eight
Oh
times out of
wow.
10, it never goes as a gift.
So then I think that is
Yeah.
It's also
that's a fuck
because
up.
after the divorce, he has to pay the wife a little extra, Jeff. So he's asked him to,
That's
refrain
right.
from doing extra stuff because he's, pleading here. Yeah. Which, Bill Gates, what's happening there? No one's given us a settlement figure.
Uh, I have
The
no
latest thing
idea.
I read, I don't know if there's spreading rumors, but they're like, see, he's put out like a press release of sorts saying that he was essentially cheating on her.
Yeah. Jeffrey
Yeah.
Epstein
So
bit
I
and all
think,
that. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
so
So
Jeffrey,
But what's forget all the morality? Who cares anyway after a point?
well, the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, I care about the morality, and
Yeah.
he has said that that's absolutely not true. Dude, Jeffrey
He
Epstein
did
is talking
spend a
about
night there.
child
There's
molestation.
proof that he
Dude.
spent a night there. Yeah. So the pedophile giri and all is another story altogether.
Yeah.
But he's spent a night there. They have proof that they had a meeting or whatever, and then he came back in the early hours of the morning, like 5-6 in the morning, from the
Okay.
mansion where all the ill-gotten stuff would happen, etc., etc. But that doesn't
I have
mean
not
that
heard
he
that
has.
anywhere.
No, that's the thing that she released. It
Who
started in
released it? Why couldn't-
2019 or 18 or something. Melinda, when he came back late, in the early hours of the morning after spending the night at the mansion,
Okay.
which is a little creepy, no? You're a married man. And it's not like a
It
hostel.
is.
You get a day-night pass and all that. I mean, Saturday morning tak aayega. Bye-bye, baby. It's not exactly like that.
But I don't. So again, I haven't been following it closely, but I haven't read anything about this. I read about him getting caught out for a affair that he had in 99 or 2000, because of which is why he also resigned from the Microsoft board, right? Because they
Yeah.
then investigated the affair that he had. It was with a Microsoft employee.
employee.
Yeah, and that's why he's resigned off the Microsoft board. That's what I've heard. I've heard nothing about this Jeffrey Epstein
so-
stuff. I've always consistently heard from everything that I've read, and I've not read much in the last few days, but everything I read before that was always consistently that with the only meetings that were there with Jeffrey Epstein were done on behalf of Nathan Myhrvold, who is a guy who is like this patent king in the US and an ex-Microsoft guy.
Look, just because all this has happened doesn't mean the guy don't do 2 and 2 mix 4 and all that. I think we should give him the benefit of the doubt, all right? Don't just rush to think that there's criminality, sexual perversion, and all this involved. Well, so I'm going with the fact that it is some sort of adultery, whether it was in 99, 2000 or whenever. And she has every right to say, okay, the marriage doesn't have any base to stand on anymore, and that's it. It's a normal divorce in that sense. I don't think we should really go into, because we don't have any idea, honestly. That'd be just too much.
No, but I've started disliking Mr. Gates particularly after that recent interview of his. Did you see where he said that vaccine IP should not be after Biden signed off?
I saw that.
Didn't he take it back?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
He gave an interview to Sky News where the ferocity with which he, completely went against Biden's decision, and also the fact that India was not a place which could produce vaccines. Have you seen that clip? It indicates, on the one hand, he's one of the biggest philanthropists and doing so much for India.
Given 100 million to the HIV/AIDS Foundation, for which he couldn't account after some time.
But on the other hand, that interview seemed a little out of place.
He is an IP fundamentalist. He is. It's a flaw.
It's his crusade.
It's one of the things it's one of the few things I don't admire him for as much as I admire him for other things. But he is an IP fundamentalist. When it comes to intellectual property stuff, he goes off the far end. But that's again, this is how he made his billions of dollars.
Yeah. All right. Now that we've got those interruptions in the middle, unprofessionally done by our proprietor and friend.
I apologize.
Too late. Can we take a quick break?
Yes.
Shall we?
Take a quick
Silvery?
break. Yep.
And tell me, do I have to talk about cred, my friend?
Yes, you do.
I'm a big believer in doing good, and I love it when I get rewarded for doing good. All we need to do is pay our credit card bills on the Cred app, and the rewards, the cashbacks, and so much more. It's like being a part of an exclusive club. I think I've already said too much. Download Cred. But if they ask you, you didn't hear it from me. Mahrukh, seriously, huh? If they ask you, because they will ask you. They're like the government. They'll come at you later. All right? So just download Cred. Yeah. This is
What does
advertising
one
of the
do with
21st.
these cred coins? I'm trying hard to
You can
understand.
get a lot of different things for them, right? So I mean, like I got a bunch of discounts for different products that I want to get. So when you go to the store, you can use the coins as a discount thing. They did some CSR stuff where you could exchange coins for oxygen cylinders and stuff like
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah,
And
well,
this you can figure out on the app, is it?
you can figure that out on the app itself. Yeah,
Okay.
so they did a bunch
Okay.
of stuff like that as well. But I mean, like fundamentally, the reason I use it more than anything else, all this other stuff is extra, right? It was a nightmare to pay credit card bills.
I
Just
agree with
figuring
you.
out which place you needed to make the payment from, getting notifications on due dates, all of that stuff was just so annoying. This kind of just centralizes everything, all four credit cards on one place. You see when the due
Yeah.
dates are.
Also, maybe we have a surrogate system. Somebody else pays your credit card bills. I was telling you about how my dad used to pay the alcohol bills when I was young. That's gone. I would love that. That's real friendship. Silvery, will you pay my credit card bills? I have to support a full family and aging parents, and you're young with nothing to worry about.
I mean, sure. Will I get extra payment?
Mikhail's Canada admission, if it comes through that 20 lakhs, how will you forex? How will we'll talk offline.
Okay, cool. Chalo, done.
You
Sorted.
may have to sell a cow. I'm telling you right now. Okay, the break is over, Mahrukh. You didn't even realize how subtle our breaks are. It's unbelievable. Because we learned as youngsters that the breaks are very boring for people. So we keep them very short, and sometimes the break is not even a break. We don't even know there was a break. Sometimes I can't remember. Yeah. But you realize we've become a shopping network on the show now? For the last 25 minutes, all we've discussed is Amazon, Marks and Spencer's, credit
And
card
Bill
bills, Bill Gates, IP property. Okay, that's fair enough. All right. Sylvain, do you have a topic?
Yeah, give us some
we have
stuff.
another one. So last week, I think about like 5 days back, this happened. In Delhi, people had been putting up posters. The poster said, Modi ji, हमारे बच्चों की वैक्सीन को विदेश क्यों भेज दिया? Like, why, Modi ji, why have you sent our children's vaccine to foreign countries? About 17 persons were arrested for putting up said posters, and under some vandalizing law, which is like never used. Like they never used, like putting up like defacing public property or something. They never used.
It's nothing to do with dissenting views from the center.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, that's not the reason. Yeah.
So politicians and leaders have been coming out in support of these people and of
the opposition is coming in support. Which is completely divided as a country.
Correct. Yeah, but nobody from BJP is going to say no.
That's what. But that is a great thing in democracy when that happens. When the party itself starts having people saying, "What the hell? Yeah, this is very undemocratic."
But I don't think we see that ever in India, do we? Do we see people go against the party? I mean, like, aren't you forced to vote as per party in some ways? You're not allowed to change parties.
On a bill and the party whip being mandatory, is one thing. When you talk about specific issues like a democratic thought, when you stand for those values, like just the fact that in a democracy, a person can show dissent and argue.
Give me an Indian example of somebody taking a stance against the party in a.
But I'm saying it's not the same thing as having to vote for a bill, which they follow the party diktat or whip. I'm saying surely here you can just say, look, this is against freedom of expression in a democracy.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing.
It's simply the only thing that divides us from a fascist empire. You have to be allowed to say, I don't like this.
With the current government at the center, you can't do that. I think there's a clear, it's not even a party whip. It's coming straight from the Prime Minister's office. Yeah. This is not even a BJP issue. It's a government issue.
Some critics say they spend more time looking at who's criticizing them than running the...
I mean, look at the example, Cyrus. I mean, from the External Affairs Minister having that meeting, from an image building exercise that they did, down to each and everything. I mean, yesterday, Dainik Bhaskar did a piece where they looked at tweets of all the ministers in the past 1 month, especially since the second wave came on. And hardly anybody has spoken about or helped out anyone or, retweeted a message supporting somebody, just like a random person, right?
It's all negative.
It's all about what the government is doing. It's all about rallies. It's about elections. Yeah. They've done this analysis, and I'm quite surprised, pleasantly so, with the regional press taking a lead and doing some really incisive pieces, especially Dainik Bhaskar, which in the past hasn't been, that aggressive in its reporting. So, of course, you can't say anything against this government. I mean, tomorrow they might do something to you also, especially with all this Syrian talk.
Like in the middle, like just a few weeks back, this was in the reports that people who were like posting on Twitter and all, right? Like saying, okay, we need oxygen cylinders, we need remdesivir. The like authorities are going after these people for posting online that you need this stuff and you're in such big
Yes.
trouble.
Even
You're
the
showing the bad side of on Twitter,
even
on
the
social media.
farmer agitation thing, the psycho fans who lined up for against the farmer agitation was so militant that I didn't realize, why can't you have a discussion? Why is it wrong to voice your opinion and say I'm not happy with the laws? Again, let's not get into who's right or wrong, but the fact that you aren't allowed to talk, and then people from our side of the street actually saying, "How dare you? You're anti-national. How can you?" What's going on? It's a democracy. You have different divergent opinions, and let's talk.
It's
From
it's
Kashmir
an
downwards, you have to talk. You can't just throw things into the air and say this is it. That's not democracy.
no, debate is completely lost, and it's
Yeah.
more so on social media. I mean, why else is the fourth estate there? Why else is the media there except
There's
for
no media.
discussion? But
It's
there
all taking
isn't.
sides.
So
Yeah.
can I ask you a question? I mean, like this is you brought up social media and you brought up the media one after the other, right? And somebody with the experience you have over there, one of the things that drives me nuts these days when I look at news is covering social media. Why does the news cover social media? I don't
But
understand
take
it.
it. It's
No, I
almost
mean,
like
For a
like
variety
they're
of
scared to
reasons.
not cover. They're scared to not cover.
it feels lazy, right? I mean, like you're just pushing.
Uh, I think because social media makes such a huge difference. It is part of our conversation. But there are now trainings done by Reuters, Washington Post, where they say that social media is going to be a part of news gathering. So you have to look at social media for that. Two, laziness. Primarily, reporters don't want to go out and report, and they easily get sources of information from social media. And three, because newsrooms are so short-staffed, there are three people who are multitasking all the time, and you have agencies which actually send you the feed, so you don't need to send reporters out. It's a luxury now to send a reporter out to cover news,
Yeah.
because you get it from via agencies like ANI and INS and PTI, and then all you sit is you kind of opinionate on sitting at your desk and put the stories out.
So the
Hardcore
lead
news
is
reporting is
Mahrukh. So
is
the lead is
dying.
taken by the social media. Let's face it. I'm sitting in CNBC right now. The social
Yes.
media gives you the lead, and then you work on that. It's not like the TV reporters and the print reporters like in the old days who actually go on ground, find their own stories, and push it forward, and then social media would come behind that. So it's almost like
Absolutely. I
the
mean,
first runner.
print is still doing it, but television, by and large, just depends on social media and these wire agencies for most of its information. I mean, today, honestly, if you look at a Barkha going out and reporting, that's real reporting, right?
Yeah.
Old style. But that's hardly happening. The rest, there are quite a few good journalists, television and otherwise. They're at home doing interactions like the kinds I do. I'm not going out and reporting, right?
Right.
It's just I'm opinionating, or I'm talking to somebody who's a newsmaker and trying to get some information. A, because I might not have the resources, and B, it takes a lot of effort to go out and do what she's doing.
Yeah.
But that's lost. I mean, compared to what's happening in the West, we don't spend money on news reporting.
So investigative journalism is gone.
It is. It's an absolutely dying segment of any newsroom. It requires a lot of money. There are no instant results. Newsrooms want instant stories. I remember when I was in a newsroom, there was an investigative team that was actually trying to gather information, and they'd got a good piece, but it wasn't the entire story. And they were made to put it out because, this will become old and we need a story right now. We don't have a big story. We need an exclusive. So nobody wants to spend that kind of money.
That is somewhat sad, but because it's so aggravating, right? You see, I mean, I get that. So Kangana Ranaut should be like the last 3 minutes of lifestyle news, right?
Really?
But
Not even
instead,
that.
yeah, but I mean, like instead of that, she's like
Breaking story,
she's
your
having,
opinion on it. Then you get somebody else's opinion who's not even connected to Bollywood. It just goes on.
And it drives me nuts, right? I mean, like instead of talking about the things that she is talking about from like this is this issue that we should be talking about. Let's talk about the violence in West Bengal. Instead of that, we're talking about Kangana's conversation about West Bengal and people's reaction to her, and that just drives me insane. It's like it feels like there's no additive value to that kind of conversation. It's a big reason why I've
it's
completely
clickbait.
Yeah.
Like you say clickbait, it's the same
Yeah.
thing that television is trying to
Mahrukh,
do.
what about the rhinoceros in the room? and his agenda, which set the agenda in 2020 for everyone. I speak of rhinoceros because Assam is famous for the rhino, and Goswami comes from Assam. So my, intelligence is revealed there because it started with cow urine. It must end with a rhino's horn. So I'm saying he also set the agenda with some ridiculous stories. Now they are ridiculous. Yeah, if you remember June of last year, the suicide, all the pontificating, all the browbeating and emotional charged conversations which went nowhere. So they've just destroyed journalism, haven't they? Because he is popular.
They have, and I think a lot of the younger generation doesn't know the difference. That's the most terrifying part. At least my generation. You two are much younger.
No.
But
don't make that mistake. I have good genetics, and he's lost hair.
I'm saying our collective generation at least knew the difference. The youngsters today don't. They look at Arnab and the likes and say, okay, this is journalism. This is what it must be. Right? This is how you expose it. The whole of last year, we had stories which were not even investigated. Somebody caught in a car with a hidden camera and being asked to say whatever. And you don't know the antecedents of the guy. You don't know the agenda or motives, possible motivations the guy might have. And you're putting that stuff on air and saying this is news. I mean, you can't go any lower than that. So we've destroyed it. We've destroyed it to a huge, huge extent. I don't know how it can be. I think independent media or independent journalists, the likes of Barkha,
without fear from
Faye, they are the ones who are still trying to keep Anubha. They're still trying to keep some.
But they pay a price for that, don't they?
But they're too small. Easy. They're too small to really. It's primetime news that needs to make that change. It's terrifying.
It is, and it's so qualitatively bad, right? I mean, it's without exception. I mean, I spent some time flipping through news channels over the pandemic, and I can't do it. I can't watch more than a bit.
Amit, if you want to finally take on the government and criticize this present government, you have to outsource news to China. I think that's the only way to do it right now. I think that'll be fairly successful as well.
It'll get banned. They'll be releasing it as an app and it'll get banned.
Nothing is better than getting banned. Getting banned makes you a superstar. Name one banned person or thing which doesn't skyrocket after that. Yeah. Look at alcohol. They banned alcohol. It's the best business in the world.
They killed TikTok in India. Completely killed it, no?
But it's reborn in America and everywhere else.
It's all over the world. It's actually it's a really bad policy, right? Because now all of a sudden India is a country that doesn't have access to some of the best creators in the world making some of the most interesting content in the world. We don't have access to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. Instead, we have Chingari and all these other apps which are, they're fine, but they're not.
You sound elitist, Valkeshwar boy.
No, I mean,
Chingari mera nahi hai. Mujhe TikTok pasand hai.
There's Takatak also.
There's Takatak. There is Daily Hunt is doing something with Josh. That's it. Then there are a number of these apps, and they're all fine, right? But I mean, there's a reason why TikTok got the kind of popularity it did, right? It had creation tools which were incredible. It had an incredible algorithm for consumption.
It was on another level, wasn't it?
It was. And I mean, it's something that the rest of the world gets, but we don't get right now. And I think that is...
and you blame Kangana for that?
I blame many things for that.
I have an interesting story on TikTok.
Oh.
I was taking a Uber from PVR Juhu back to Bandra. And the driver, I was talking to somebody and he said, "Ma'am, aap TikTok pe hain?" I said, "Nahi, main TikTok pe nahi hu." He said, "मैं एक rap artist हूँ, मेरे 1 lakh followers on TikTok पे."
Wow.
And then he started doing his, he did a rap and it was so good. And he said, "मेरी wife के तो 2 lakh followers हैं." I said, "Arey wah." So I said, "Are you being able to monetize it?" So he said, "She can monetize, but I'm not being able to. मुझे आप सिर्फ Ranveer Singh से मिलवा दो." Because Gully Boy had just come out at that time.
Okay.
So I was fascinated by his story. I think I still have his number on my phone.
That's amazing.
So now you just call him to rap.
चलो आज एक और सुना दे आज.
बजा दे.
No, but that's the
Uh,
kind of thing that TikTok unleashed, right? Like, I mean, honestly, when TikTok first came out, I was like, "What is this stuff?" Right? I mean, I was absolutely who's going to watch 15-second videos, right? That was my first initial reaction. Then you installed it, you looked at it, and you started seeing the people who are making content and the kind of like incredibly imaginative, and also there's a bunch of incredibly misogynistic and incredibly hateful
Yes.
content there, but some
Yeah.
also incredibly kind of like just really really
Ingenuous. Yeah.
stuff made. And we lost it because our government wanted to fight with China wanted to fight with our government. I mean, like, it's not as
No,
if
no,
like
you can
we were
criticize the policy, Amit. I
yeah.
don't. When 2611 happened, Pakistan, I think, threw Pepsi out for some time, which sponsored all the cricket. Within 6 months, they had to bring them back. There's no
Yeah.
correlation sometimes with the
Well,
thinking,
it's
also. No?
been a year now.
Well,
It's been a year since we lost TikTok. So the two big apps we lost, right?
2024, they'll reverse it.
We lost two big apps, right? That were used big in India, right? So TikTok and PUBG. PUBG is
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
PUBG has
PUBG is
come back.
back, yeah.
They've come back as Battle Underground.
PUBG was endorsed by the PM in a
Oh.
speech a couple of times, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, am I right, Mahrukh?
Yes,
He's
yes,
used the reference for the
absolutely.
kids who were in the audience and they all,
Yeah.
clapped, which
Yeah.
is good. It was good thinking.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And then PUBG out.
But I'm sure there are lobbies in India that are against TikTok. Maybe some developers are
100%.
developing something. Yeah.
The names we just
Otherwise,
mentioned.
it would have come back.
The names
Well,
we just
I-
mentioned have taken the space, so they
No,
they
but
have lost
yes.
to lose.
They still haven't eased up on a lot of those China restrictions they put in back then, right? I mean, like
Yeah.
even stuff like investments and stuff like that, where Chinese companies are not allowed to acquire Indian companies. Those the way they phrased it was neighboring
things-
countries are not allowed to acquire Indian countries. But I mean, like
First
those things
things-
are still in place.
First things first, we should get Ajinomoto back in the Chinese food. Yeah.
It's never
and
gone.
BVO back in the cold drinks.
It's
Okay.
never gone. Ajinomoto's
No,
always been in
but,
China.
but,
there.
all
Yeah.
but they kind of tell you, this is with or without and all that. And then you start feeling guilty, especially with old people around you. Now I'm an old person myself. So, I don't know. I'm like, just kill me already. Just give me the worst diet, but let it taste good, and then you just don't think about it. It's a waste of time. Okay, guys, AMAs. Man, go to
AMAs.
work.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week, Cred, thewholetruthfoods.com, and Siet Tires. We really do appreciate the support. So the last year's been tough for all of us, and the second wave of COVID really hit us badly. To help those affected by the pandemic in India, the podcasting community has come together under the Pod for Change banner to raise funds through an exclusive NGO partner, Give India. Join IVM and Pod for Change as we look to make a positive impact in the life of those affected by COVID-19. You can go to tinyurl.com/Pod for Change India, and remember, somebody could really use the help. And now back to the promo. On the Simplified podcast, the gang explains the oxygen crisis happening in the country and tells us the various measures being taken to tackle it. On States of Anarchy, Hamsani Hariharan talks about how the geopolitical relationships shaped COVID response and the world order. As Indians, we're all familiar with acid reflux or heartburn, given the spicy food we consume. On The Habit Coach, Ashton has some simple solutions to counter that. Osama Moria explores the iconic neighborhood of Dadar and tells us its connection to outer space in Postcards from Nowhere. It was Dangle time on The Fighting Goat, as hosts Somesh and Arjun were joined by unbeaten MMA fighter and Commonwealth gold medalist Ritu Fogart. The traveling professor Siddharth Deshmukh shares examples of various innovations that came up during the COVID times and helped us deal with the situation. And with that, let us get you back to your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Board Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. Check out Kunal Vijayakar, whose birthday it was yesterday. There's no money in
birthday,
the
happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Yeah,
Kunal.
Mahrukh,
Did you, Kunal, did you see
Kunal, happy birthday. They're saying happy birthday.
And ask him if he saw the stories that you told about him.
Did you
yesterday.
see the stories that they discussed on the show? Would you like to come on? Would you like to come on and rebuttal it? And can you bring Baman on to confirm the truth? Can you and Baman do 10 minutes for us together to confirm whether I'm lying or not? Okay. So now you said it, so you have to do it.
Yes.
One last thing. Have you got a boob
I'm
job?
done.
Okay. Mahrukh, that's really rude. How dare you ask that?
I was
Unbelievable.
about to say he's looking
Sorry
so
about
good
that.
in that.
Happy birthday, Kunal. Who cares? Right. EMS fast, guys.
All right. So we have great comments. First one comes in from Bigfoot Specials. He just says, I work at TikTok. It's not coming back. So I hope
Oh.
that's...
No, how do we
exactly
know?
what-
Policies change, bro. I mean, Coke
I mean,
was one of
yeah.
India. It came back years,
Yeah, it
decades
could change
later.
overnight, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
What,
that's true.
Mahrukh, you're better than this than all of us. Nothing is forever, is it?
Nothing, absolutely, especially policy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the days of Sharad Pawar,
That's
you
the
knew that.
easiest thing to change.
There you go. Yeah.
Even though it's the
But
toughest, but it's the easiest in our context.
I think the great thing about politicians worldwide, we saw the fight in Australia with Google, etc., and all that, is that it's all about what they say on Monday doesn't have to hold on Friday. It really doesn't matter.
Yes.
It's. I don't think we should take it too seriously. I think we get too emotional when we think that what they are saying is gospel and all that. It's not like that at all. It's just blowing with the wind, and then it goes the other way. So we just have to see.
I was listening to Obama's book, and it's lovely listening to it. because
Audacity
he's
of Hope?
narrating it. No, the latest one. I'm forgetting the name.
I hate Trump. I haven't read it.
Of his first term in office, and he's lovely because he's narrating it, and it's lovely to hear him. And I'm a big fan of audiobooks. And if you hear of the politics in America, honestly, it's no different from what's happening in India.
I'm sure.
It's just that their institutions are so much stronger that you can't just get away with anything and just say anything and say,
No, but Mahrukh,
it's
their
over by the
press,
next news cycle.
their press and their ability to show dissent, whether it's a common man
Yes.
or a comedian or a guy on radio or investigative reporter, is far more, because that's more
Oh, yes.
robust and powerful, and they can really take
Absolutely.
on establishments, which is one
And,
big problem
and
we're
the
having.
fact that they have survived Trump and the institutions still hold strong, I mean, that's remarkable. But
I
the
think-
politics essentially is no different. I mean,
No.
it's just the names are changed and the casts are changed.
They have better accents
the
and wear
pairs
suits.
are changed,
Yeah.
but yeah.
No, I agree with that. I think when it comes to the press, I think one of the big differences is the First Amendment, right? I mean, like the absolute kind of protection that provides
Yes.
versus the Indian constitutional amendment regarding freedom of speech, which makes exceptions for not offending people, right? I mean, like that just kind of changes the entire.
That's a paradox. We discuss this every
Yeah.
time on every episode.
I know,
You
because
cannot
it's-
have freedom of
It's not
speech in the
just
next line say without
it's
offending
not
people.
just the freedom of press. It's also extremely strong libel and slander laws.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened last year, especially last year, in view of what they did to Ria and to Sushant and the whole
Yeah.
story, right? That won't happen in the US because there are boundaries for the press also. The media needs checks and balances. We don't have any. We can pretty much say whatever we want.
Amit, he spoke of proof and stuff like that. I've got proof that these
Yeah.
medical reports, they're all falsehoods. The
Yeah.
defamation was easy anywhere in the world, I would think, because they're recorded falsehoods that have been proclaimed by a person. Absolutely destroying families, their friends, their supporters, their careers, their reputation.
Yeah, agree.
Terrible.
I,
Terrible.
it was
The book by Obama is called The Promised Land. I was just trying to
okay.
1 minute.
check that.
Now with
Yes.
Israel going hammer and tongs again, I wonder if that's the best reference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He
Right.
won a Nobel Peace Prize for that.
Well, Trump was on his way. He met Kim Jong-un. Luckily, they don't speak the same language, but they had so much in common. They fought over I think they fought over the lobster. They both grabbed the lobster at the same time, and then there was pulling and all that.
I'd made a prediction to family and friends before the second COVID wave, that Mr. Modi would win a peace prize before his second term is over. And I felt he was going towards that, but the
If
second
that
wave
didn't
might have
happen.
changed a lot of things.
That
Yeah.
giving out the vaccines abroad and all that, we were now the powerful country helping the altruism and all that. It was going in the right direction.
Also his approach towards Pakistan and wanting long-lasting peace in the region.
The moderate
I think that would have
speaking.
been,
Yeah, fair enough.
It's just
I
that
think you're
the
right.
second wave has kind of changed things for him.
A lot of people say that's his real aim, to try and get the Nobel Prize. And
Yes.
he's always been traveling. We used to do the jokes, and he's always traveling. He's always beyond India, his real capacity.
Yes.
Yeah.
3 years left for elections. A lot of time for things to change.
But this COVID, we thought would be over and done with. Now it's just crippling everybody.
Yeah, but still, elections aren't happening for 3 years.
And not that we have a robust opposition that is actively doing anything on the ground, right?
I give you
Things
one
can
name.
change if we have an opposition.
Yeah, I give you one name, Mamta Banerjee. The ferocity of the wild tiger. Untamed. Dying, but untamed. Let's see what happens. I think only a woman can bring down Indian male politicians. You have to
I
figure out a
agree with
female.
you.
The ferocity of the female is always more. We've discussed this. Dogs across the world, police forces keep females for ferocity and loyalty. They may be smaller in size, but they are more ferocious and loyal. So I go with a female form to bring down governments.
I agree with you 100%, Cyrus.
There you go.
And also because never underestimate the woman voter. She's quiet
Which is a
and
new
she
demographic,
is so
you would say
powerful.
also.
Yes.
Yeah.
She controls the Indian household.
It's I read somewhere that basically the reason why Indian polls do not kind of reflect anywhere close to what finally winds up happening is because nobody knows how the Indian woman is voting.
Yes. And
Especially,
pollsters underestimate that role all
yeah,
the time.
yeah.
And the pull she has on the entire family, in a sense.
That's absolutely.
But you think of the man is the leader and all that, but the woman will decide when the ground reality of how much is costing what and what is doing what for her family. Yeah, I think that, and yeah, that's true. That's a huge
You
thing.
know, as an aside, do we still have time? Because this story might take a bit.
Okay.
No, just that in just a short story.
Yeah.
In Kashmir, with the rise of Wahhabism and fundamentalism and radicalism, I had a friend who was actually writing a book, and he said that one of the reasons why radicalism will not grow in Kashmir is because of the Kashmiri woman. She controls the household. She believes in Sufi saints. She goes to these dargahs, and she'll always take her son or her daughter with her when she goes to the dargah. And that is what kind of gets ingrained in the child. And that's why they don't go towards radicalism. It was a very interesting point of view. I think it's changing very fast on the ground. But the Indian woman is always underestimated, including me.
Now that's like stand up. You led us up a wrong path and then superbly punched in the end. Yeah, nice. Shall we quickly do one more, guys? I have to go and pretend to work again.
Sure. Girish Patil asks, Cyrus, do you want to have a Hello Friends reunion? Friends is having a reunion.
I pulled out of Hello Friends, so I don't know if they want me back. Ajit Pal, the maker, is somewhere in New Zealand, safe at the moment. But if they're going to shoot another episode, as long as they write it in a way where, it's not a copy of Friends, just translated from English, because I think that was a big failure, trying to do it that way. They have to sort of localize it, like they try to do with Raymond also. And the problem is, culturally, these things have to change completely. You just take the premise of people living together, and then it has to change completely. It just doesn't work.
The Office worked, no? The Indian Office worked.
No, it didn't.
I thought it worked okay. It's not like I love The Office anyway.
It didn't work.
Okay.
These are tough ones. Tough times, guys. Tough times.
Okay.
That's why I drive a Uber cab and rap in my spare time. Okay, quick. One more. They haven't called me yet.
One more. Yeah. Anish Raul asks, Cyrus, what's something you wish you knew when you landed in NYC? I came here 3 months ago and would love to hear your insights from you.
Well, the first problem I had was the accent, especially Brooklynish, the twangy. Correct me if I'm wrong, Amit. They've got this very twangy accent, which is tough on the ear to pick up. Very pointed words and it's nasally as well. So I was, and then you start getting intimidated because you can't ask a person, pardon 2 or 3 times, because the Americans get really irritated. They're brusque sort of personalities. So while they're friendly and warm, in 2 minutes, it's like, they've lost it. So, I went everywhere I went, I had to keep asking again and again. Finally found the Cuban ladies in Strasbourg who spoke bad English. It was a blessing in disguise. Because, they struggled to put words together, and I could take my time and I could put the conjunction in for them and a preposition here, a dot there, a comma here. So that was good. The other thing is, don't make eye contact on the subway, bro. Firstly, my skin color, I used to wear crucifix and a Knicks thing. Nobody looked at me.
No, but you
scared
went
of
early
brown skin men.
90s. You went early 90s.
No, but listen,
you can go to the subway now. It's very, very safe now.
No, but everybody looks down, reads their own. Of course,
now
now
rats there, so it's quite.
Yes.
No, but I'm comparing it to Mumbai. Okay, or Mumbai or Gurgaon for that matter. Just compare it, where everybody just stares at everybody. We are staring people.
Oh yeah, okay, you mean like that?
So we Indians, we don't know what's being hostile. I keep telling people when they stare at me, anywhere else in the world they'll kill you. You have to be careful. So in America, the last thing you want to do is that.
So I have a cousin from New York. I have 2 cousins from New York. One of them speaks in that Brooklyn kind of accent, right? And he spent 2 years living in India. Man, it was hilarious. Nobody could understand him. Nobody could understand him. He was working for, I think, one of the investment banks, Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley or one of them. And he was over here, and he was like, it was so like. I could not believe that he could get anything done because he doesn't speak any Hindi, doesn't speak any Gujarati, only speaks English, and nobody can understand him. It was.
That's a funny thing about dialects and accents. You can speak the language perfectly and you have no idea what the guy's saying. It's ridiculous, and I feel a lack of, your empowering thing goes the other way completely, after 1 week when you meet someone like that. So those were very intimidating moments initially for me, because New Yorkers are what they say. They're straightforward and in a way ruthless in their, approach to everything. It's just straightforward and whatever. But then you catch on. and you do the same thing. Like you talk to someone in a dismissive but polite fashion. The please and thank yous are actually they're impolite. Yeah. Okay, please next. Okay, please next, please. Yeah. I mean, it's not really please. It's like, you motherfucker, why aren't you moving up forward faster? Actually, that's the, and then the scared Desi Indian man is like, what to say? You start losing everything, including accent. But after a couple of weeks, you start becoming part of it, and it was great fun. Suddenly I saw Denzel Washington walking on a street. It was amazing, just out of the blue. So I was, you're not going to see Amitabh Bachchan walking on the street, So those experiences of New York was a great leveler. You see all kinds of, on the subway, you've got someone, Goldman Sachs head is standing there with a gold pen worth, millions of dollars or whatever. And a McDonald's employee is right next to him reading a paper. So all that is good, which we don't have here, which if the metro to be a success, we have to have. Yeah. Everyone takes that metro,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
Agreed.
All right, should we do one more? We have time? Yeah, we have time.
All right. Girish Patel has another question. He says, what's your opinion on Elon Musk after his adventures with cryptocurrencies?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm not happy. I have a little money in crypto. I'm not happy.
Is it IBM money or is it personal money?
Personal money.
But I heard there was a 30% drop or something.
The
right?
30% drop. Yeah, it was. It's like 1/3 value gone.
Temporary.
Well, I'm sure
really
temporary. See, again, the idea with crypto is if you're investing crypto with the idea of buying and selling, you're a fool because you don't know crypto, you don't understand crypto. The idea that I have is just put a little bit of money in crypto every month and let it sit over there and see what happens. Play money which you're not serious about. I haven't played poker in a year, so basically instead of spending money on poker, I'm putting money into crypto.
Is it like is it a mutual fund to you? What's the end game?
It's a mutual fund. It's a gamble. It's like it's like putting. It's a long-term gamble. Who knows?
So you don't even give it a thought. You're saying this is a lottery. I put it in, and whatever happens. And I put it in not enough for me to ever feel anything. I
check fairly obsessively at least 4 or 5 times a week. I go and check what the value of it is. But I'm not taking any money out of it, right? I mean, and if I'm doing anything, right, I might move money from Bitcoin to Dogecoin or Dogecoin to Ethereum or something like that. But I'm not doing anything beyond that. Right. And so it's basically, I'm not happy. It is one third of the value.
You're investing in Dogecoin as well?
I did a little Dogecoin when all that nonsense was going on. And then I'm like, no, I can't do Dogecoin. This is just too stupid.
But you have more money than I thought.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, it's
first and foremost, there's relevant conventional investing which you must be doing. And then you have to throw it down on these
this is
products which are slightly far-fetched.
I put in like 7,500, 10,000 rupees a month into this year. It's nothing.
That's 1/3 of my dad's medical supplies for the month.
1/3 of your dad's medical supplies for a month. I'm sure that's not a big part of your overall family expenditure.
Yeah, my family eats too much, man.
Yeah.
Should have just one community meal, just that's it, once a day. And like animals will come and feed. Oh, man, I wish I had my own cow. Yeah. Can we drink the urine for nutrition, Mahrukh?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Mahrukh's not. Why would Mahrukh say no?
Yes.
So when the guest comes, we'll be like, "Ek glass pisa pila do or tang mere re." Okay, guys.
Okay.
It's been a wonderful morning, and now I have to go play with my friends. Sounds horrible. Mahrukh, thank you so much for coming on our show. Please come once in a while, whenever you feel free and bored. This is the last Sebastian for investigative journalism. We've drawn a line in the sand.
I had a great time. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Cheers. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Bye, Amit. Bye.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
We live in an age of disruption, of immense change in every aspect of work, life, and business. But is the old way of doing things truly dead? And are we ever going to stop saying the new normal? Join me, Varun Dugirala, on Advertising is Dead every Tuesday as I talk to entrepreneurs, leaders, creators, and change makers from across business, media, marketing, and beyond to dig a little deeper into how we got here, what we're doing now, and where we're headed. You can catch all the episodes of Advertising is Dead on the IBM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from.
Hi, I'm Zarina Poonawalla, host of the Empowering Series podcast on the IVM network. I happen to be a peak performance coach and leadership coach by profession, and I'm here to share with you productivity tools, life-altering techniques, and real-life hacks to help you achieve your maximum potential in everything you do, your relationships, professions, careers. So tune in every Monday to unleash your inner power. Be